Hey, it's Heather Adams, and I am with MassLive, and I am at TEDxSpringfield today, and I am getting the joy of interviewing Annie Lynch Stevenson, who talked a little bit earlier this morning. She is a musician and teacher at the Community Music School in Springfield. So thanks for chatting with me.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any questions, I will be asking some, but be sure to leave it in the comments. We will be sharing this on MassLive as well, so all of those people can start asking questions. And be sure to like both pages, tag people in the comments you think will be interested. We'll be doing this a little bit throughout the day, so stay with us. So if you want to introduce yourself, I gave a little introduction, but you do a lot. And tell us a little bit about what you talked about today.
Yeah, my name's Annie Lynch Stevenson, and I'm a musician. I live here in Western Mass, and today I gave a talk about a trip that I took to Tuva, which is a small region of Siberia, in 2012 for the purpose of a collaborative musical cultural exchange.
So can you tell us a little bit about that trip?
Yeah, so I went to Tuva, it kind of somewhat randomly. My husband and I followed and often would go out to see this Tuvan group, Alash, when they would come to the States, and we, through that interaction, became friendly with them and then shared our music with them and began to collaborate a bit when they came to New York, where we were living at the time. And then they asked us to come to Tuva for the 50th birthday of a really prominent musician and music educator who's since passed, a man named Kongaral Ondar. And so they asked us to come prepare some sort of collaborative presentation with other musicians and members of the Tuvan National Orchestra, and somehow we managed to get this trip together and make it happen, and we went out, and it's quite the journey. And so a lot of what I spoke about in the talk is the trip getting there, and then also the experience of collaborating with musicians and kind of the universal language of music. And
it wasn't always, I mean, it's obviously music is super important, and especially for communicating, but it wasn't always what I would think of as just like you're just singing. There's also throat singing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I don't throat sing. I didn't learn how to throat sing when I was in Tuva. It's something that women do, but it's more typically done by men. And so I learned some traditional, more conventional singing in Tuva, and shared some of my music. But throat singing is a style of singing that's done in various regions of the world, but Tuva is one of those places. And there are lots of different styles and techniques of throat singing, but the basic principle is that it's a technique that produces a low drone sound and various overtones at the same time. So you'll have like one drone, like one pitch, and then over that, at the same exact time, your voice will be creating overtones that function in harmony with one another. So it sounds like somebody's just singing. The first thing you'll hear is that low drone, and then you'll start to hear a melody that sounds almost like a whistling sound. But this is all happening. So sometimes you'll hear 5 different pitches coming out of one human voice at one time. And it's an incredible, beautiful technique of singing. And it's also in Tuva, it's meant to sort of emulate and simulate sounds in nature. So the different styles of throat singing correlate with different elements of nature, bird sound, water sound. I think there might be like a horse correlation, but so it's a really incredible ancient technique of singing that's worth checking out at the very least.
And did you know a lot about all of this before going?
I didn't know. I mean, I'm still learning about Tuvan music, but I knew about it in that I liked it. Like I heard it, I felt inspired by it, and I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it live, and and we listened to the recordings and, bought the albums. And we just, my husband actually, introduced this music to me, and he kind of used some Tuvan techniques of their bowed playing, and even to kind of inform his way of playing upright bass. And so then I was sort of interested in that. And I like world music, and I did study world music in college, and so this is something that I'm interested in. But I didn't really know a whole lot about it before being invited to come over to Tuva, other than just listening to it. And I still like that. I was there for 2 weeks. But there's just like with any sort of culture or style of music, it's like you could go so deep into it and always learn more. So.
And it wasn't just about singing too; it was about the whole performance. So you told a funny story about the horse milk and a goat slaughter.
Well, okay, so there was the performance that we. When I was in Tuva, I was collaborating a lot with a women's ensemble called Ugulza. And these women taught me a Tuvan song, and I taught them one of my songs. And so I taught them how to, or I just taught them my song, and they put their own spin on it with their instruments and their singing, and it was beautiful. And then and there was some throat singing, and then I learned one of their songs and sang on it in Tuvan. And so at the end of the visit, we all performed these songs on the national stage, which was a very large for a very large audience. And I mean, I don't know that there's ever been a female American musician or singer that's performed on that stage before, and so it was kind of amazing to get to do that in general. But also, like, these people were totally blown away that someone that looks like me was singing in Tuvan. It's a really obscure language, and they were totally like dumbfounded and really excited. But the cool thing about that interaction in the performance is that the Ugulza, they didn't really speak any English, and I don't speak Tuvan, and they also speak Russian, which I also don't speak. So we were just using our music to communicate, and so we were able to completely effectively create a performance that was presentable for a really large audience in 2 weeks' time, with communicating only with music. So then after the performance, there was a celebratory goat slaughter, and then, the kind of like delicacy or like, really special thing to eat is like all the tendons and like, ligaments and whatever, like gristly stuff. And then also like fermented horse milk is a real special treat there. And so, I tried the horse milk, and it was pretty good. I actually, I was able to kind of just like have my little drink of horse milk and kind of be able to like avoid the weird meat situation, which I didn't want to eat.
So you weren't there for very long. So, I mean, how did that even transform your life today?
I mean, I think traveling anywhere that's really foreign and different is like a great experience. That was like a real privilege for me to be able to have. It gives perspective on life outside of your own reality. And it also really did change the way that I hear music and the way that I think about the like kind of cultural significance of music and tradition. And these people, this is an ancient tradition of music that's still like the most prevalent music in Tuva. It's like what people get together and they sing these songs that have been sung for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's just so important. I teach a early childhood music program in like Florence and Springfield and East Hampton, and and what I like about it is that I think why I started doing that is that we get together, it's parents and kids and other caregivers, and we sing songs, and we sing Americana songs and some other world songs, and we do other things too, but it's like just getting together and everybody singing in a group together and singing from different traditions that people might belong to. It's powerful, and it's something that stands the test of time. And so that was something that kind of really stuck with me from that experience of learning some traditional Tuvan music. Yeah.
And today, what are you hoping people get out of this and go with forward?
Well, one of the things that I
Lost lights there.
And we're back. One of the things that I spoke about today at the end of the talk, which is like a little bit of a, digression, I guess, from the main theme of the talk, but really in there is just how like you can travel like to literally to the other side of the world and experience something that is so foreign. You don't speak the same language. You don't look like anybody there. There's a lot of really like noticeable cultural differences. There were times that I felt just kind of like really out of place, or really, kind of, which I'm not used to having that experience. And so but at the end of this trip, I felt really bonded with the people that I was, working with, and you can connect on a human level with anyone, with any person, no matter how different they are from you. And so I think just trying to foster those connections in ways, and also, what I did speak to at the end was just that, we especially in Springfield is an incredibly diverse area and the surrounding areas. And so you don't have to go all the way to Siberia to have cultural exchange. We are lucky to be living in an area we're surrounded by international community and immigrant population, and let's embrace this and be engaging with people from all different backgrounds and celebrate that we get to be around all different types of people. That's something to celebrate and to strive toward. And so that's kind of what I hope that, some people can walk away from, or walk away from this with, and,
And if people are feeling inspired, whether it was in your talk or right now listening, what do you suggest? What is the first step they take?
That's a good question. I guess just looking at what opportunities you have in your own life to be connected. Not everybody has the chance to just, like right now I have 2 little kids. So in the beginning of the talk, I was like, who would volunteer for this kind of adventure to Tuva? And I said, oh, I would again, but you don't always have the ability. I couldn't just take this whole journey at this particular time in my life. But I do work in Springfield and teach, and I get to work with, kids of all different ages that are from different cultures and backgrounds. And I think that there are ways that people can sort of, connect with and foster, even just approach how they learn about other cultures, or the attitude that they take or mentality they have about other different types of people. I guess just maybe we could all just shift our perspective a little bit more, or open our minds a little bit more.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So if you have any other questions, be sure to leave them in the comments, and we will try to get those answered. And again, we're going to be spending the day learning lots of important lessons, hearing inspiring stories, so be sure to like the MassLive page and TEDxSpringfield. Again, I'm Heather Adams with MassLive.